Hello everyone, Colin Canet here for Woodwork Web. Today I'm going to be making a standing cooler. Now, a standing cooler is just simply what it says. It's a cooler that stands up off the ground or off the deck, stands on some legs, and inside the top of the cooler, the box, there will be something like this, and this is what I'm going to use for my cooler, and it'll have ice in there, and this is just simply what you put the drinks in, and then you'll be able to lift the top and reach in and get the drinks without having to bend over. So just something a little bit more convenient, a little bit of a novelty for the summer barbecue season that's coming up. All I'm doing here is trying to get some measurements because this is a custom woodworking job, and I'm just using my assembly jig that I made a few videos ago to help me hold this wood so that I get the right dimensions. Now that's how the legs are going to get joined together on the corners, but you can see when you look at them that one looks longer than the other, and in fact it's just kind of an optical illusion because of the way they overlap. So what I want to do is take this one, this side, and just trim it down so that when you look at them they look like they're even on both sides. And that's what that cut did. It just gives a better balance for these corner pieces. Well, on this project, I'm going to be using pocket holes. And I know a lot of you are asking the question, Colin, how come you're not using dowels? You always use dowels. I do use dowels a lot. I love dowels for indoor furniture, for fine furniture, perfect joints. I love dowels. They work great. For outdoor, I prefer pocket holes, and I'll tell you why. Dowels, in outdoor projects, I'm just afraid that if there's a little bit of moisture gets inside the dowel, that there's a better chance for it to rot, that there just is, and to fix that, it's very difficult because you have to pull everything apart. Pocket holes for outdoor projects, I prefer them. Not right or wrong, it's just my preference. In this case, I don't want to use any glue. I'm just going to put the whole thing together with pocket holes. I just find glue often over a period of time, even outdoor glues, they just don't hold that well. And with this, even if the pocket holes, when the wood expands and contracts, even with pocket holes, sometimes the screws will back off a bit. It's very easy just to tighten them up. And you know what? It's good to go again for another 100 or so years. So just my preference, pocket holes for outdoor projects. I just find they work best. Now I've just taken a moment to cut the sides, the side and the front of the box that the plastic container is going to sit in. And I'm going to do something a little unconventional in this build. I'm going to be stacking the wood like this, and rather than gluing like we've already talked about, I'm not going to glue. I'm going to use pocket holes, and for this build, pocket holes will be more than sufficient. They'll hold well enough for what our purposes are for this. We're not building army tanks here. We're only building a cooler stand, so for this, for the sides, for this, this will be plenty strong. I'm just working out the angles for the top lip, and it's a little bit tricky because there's a little bit of an overhang on the outside and a little bit of overhang on the inside. So I'm just doing some cut and fit and testing. The main thing to remember whenever you're making 45-degree cuts, just like a picture frame, is of course the sides need to be 45 degrees and they need to be right on, but what's even more important is the two sides need to be exactly the same length, because if one of them is even a tiny bit longer than the other, it throws the whole thing off. So just make sure that when you cut them, they're absolutely equal. Now to carry on with my build, I'm going to pre-stain everything. And because I need to do both sides, there's a little trick that I do from time to time, and that is to put some wood. And some of you have seen me do this. Put some wood on the front and the back of this, and it lifts it up off the counter, off the workbench, and allows the paint to dry. It allows me to do both sides at the same time. Well, now that we've played around and got the color that we're going to go with, you can see I've got this big stack of wood here. Nothing is put together. We're going to put everything together after everything has been stained and is dry. So when I come back, that's what we'll do. Well, now we can go ahead and start putting the legs on, and I'm going to put screws in from the back so that they'll go out, and just so that you don't see them, it'll also protect it a little bit more so the screws aren't exposed to the weather. So I'm just going to go ahead now and we'll put those on, and I won't show you every tiny detail of this. Now the last leg I'm going to set on the table saw to do. Usually I do this after and then I'll sand the bottom, but this is a little bit thicker leg that I'm usually working with, so it'll be quicker and easier to do it this way. Well, there's a quick preview of the little stand here. I just have a couple of more details to do. Of course, I still need to put the lid on, and that's going to look really nice. I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. What I need to do first of all is to put some hinges on there. Well, there's our little standing cooler, and I put the hinges on. I just want to see quickly if that fits in and I can reach in. Yeah, I've got room to lift that all out of there if I want. You know, you could put a drain in there if you were ambitious, but I want this to be more temporary than that. So, okay, I've got a few details I'm going to put on the outside. When we come back, I'll show you those details. Let me take a moment to show you some of the cool additions that I added here. First of all, I put a handle on so that it's easy to open the lid. I've added this chain on here so that we don't stress the hinges and it stays open. I've added the bottle opener down here, and check this out on the side. I've even put a towel holder so that you can dry your hands or your drinks. This is going to be a handy little addition to the barbecue season. Well, that completes my video on making the little stand-up cooler. You know what? A perfect addition to summertime barbecuing or events, all sorts of things like that. It's a very easy little project to make. You can figure out your own plans just simply by starting off with the plastic insert that you're going to be using to put the drinks in, and then just work around that. So it really is a pretty easy thing to make. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, to do that. Don't forget, I got lots more videos coming your way.